Hello everyone and welcome back to IMO Reviews. Thank you so much for subscribing, liking, commenting my videos lately. We have finally passed the 500 subscriber threshold, and it is all thanks to you. Long may it continue, and now we aim for the big one, 1K. So thank you so much for your support of the channel, and as a celebration of getting 500 subscribers, here's a special review of the straight-to-video disaster that I recently watched, called The Flood. Here's the synopsis for you. A bad storm brings in a nasty flood full of alligators that go swarming into the local police station, while a group of prisoners in transit are forced to stay there until the weather passes. Wow, that actually sounds potentially quite good. So what the hell happened? But I'll simmer. Let's try and find some positives, if we can. I'm willing to give half a point to the sound design, because some of it was okay. Emphasis on the word some. The punches sounded like punches. The splashes sounded like splashes. You'd think that's a given, but honestly, wait till you see some of the horrendous mistakes this movie makes. No, it's impressive that they got that right. Like, I don't even know if I can give this as a positive, because it's stock footage, but some of the stock footage was okay. I mean, even in these quite nice looking stock footage videos that you've chosen, there's still absolutely zero continuity in the location. One of them is very clearly like a riverbank in Louisiana, and the other one is just straight up the fucking Amazon. But yeah, apparently they just merge into each other according to The Flood. But again, you know, still trying to be positive. As far as stock footage goes, it was fine, and I suppose I can offer an unenthused half point for not forcing a romance on me. I have officially scrambled every corner of my mind, and I can officially say, hand on heart, that I have nothing more positive to say about this movie. Let's begin with the negatives, shall we? Now, as I mentioned, the synopsis, it ain't bad. Alligators versus convicts in a prison. That has a tiny chance of potentially being gold dust right there. As long as you know what it is, don't take yourself too seriously, and offer some good popcorn munching action entertainment along the way. I don't know how you managed to miss the mark quite so badly. Having watched the film, now I do know how you managed to miss the mark so badly. It's because the director and writer really aren't good at this. To be brutally honest, the whole team were pretty bad at their job here, including the actors. How did you not realise what you had in your hands here? Why would you think that what anybody would want from this movie is to be constantly bogged down in one of the dumbest fucking stories imaginable to man, with some of the blandest, most stereotypical characters you could ever imagine? These characters don't have personalities or troubles and strife. No, they get flashcards, so you get given 3 bullet points about each one and what you need to know about them. And that's how you write good character, apparently. I kind of feel sorry for these actors on some degree. I mean, none of them are good. Let's not pretend that any of them are ever cutting the mustard at any point in this film. But they have very clearly been given nothing to work with. The director has clearly gone up to them and said, you're the Nazi, you're the cop killer, and you're the big bruiser that beats everybody up. Okay, action, go! In fact, that's quite kind, because sometimes it feels like they're working with less than that. I don't think that the director understands that he is allowed to say cut and do a reshoot, second take, third take, you know, do it until you get it right. It really does seem like one take will do and we'll move on. We'll fix it in post. I bet that was said 1,000,000 times while this was being made. Some of the line reads are literally inaudible. I don't know what they're saying. They are mumbling and grumbling through their lines to a point that the words are just lost in it. And if the inaudible dialogue isn't bad enough, because heaven forbid doing a second take, they also decide to use ADR, and it is laughably bad. Come on, go, let's move! Is a new personal favourite of mine. I have been saying that a lot recently, ever since watching that movie. Next time Mrs. IMO is holding us up for wherever we need to go, I'm definitely going to be shouting that up the stairs to her. I've got to freshen things up sometimes. She gets a bit annoyed with me doing the constant, God damn you, Cypher! The lighting in this movie is not only very bad when it is too dark, but it is also too bright, and equally fails its continuity. Not only is this woman's office very clearly lit by a giant lamp that's pretending to be the daylight creeping through her blinds, but let's remember that this scene literally transitioned from a shot of a tower in the dark howling rain of a storm. How is it now sunny in the blink of an eye? Small details go a long way, my friend. I can't even praise the kills, they're absolutely shit. The first one is a death roll that's fast forwarded. I don't even know if it's worth mentioning that opening scene can just be cut entirely. It's compared to the rest of the problems in this movie, that opening scene is just numb to me. I feel nothing. Now, I also have to acknowledge that this film only has a budget of $2 million, which, okay, I mean, I wouldn't walk past it in the street, it'd solve a hell of a lot of my problems. But in movie-making terms, it ain't much. But what's sadly true is I have seen a hell of a lot better done with even less than $2 million. I honestly can't see where the money has gone in this film. Surely, even with a $2 million budget, you can just take a picture of an actor in a police uniform and, print it in big size so you can make a big picture on the wall of it. No. What we're going to do is we're going to Photoshop someone's head onto a pre-stock image off of Google. Fuck me, what are we doing? I have no idea where you've put this $2 million. It does not feel like it's made for $2 million. It feels like it's made for about $20. The sets are shit. The acting is shit. The lighting is shit. The CGI is shit. The music and the sound design is still pretty shit, but admittedly not as shit as the other things that are shit. I'm losing my mind with this movie. I get your intention of putting the camera underwater. I think that's a good idea. I even like there's a lack of music in this moment. It feels like it's actually trying to build a little bit of suspense for a change. But here's the problem. The water is dirty as shit, and I can't see a fucking thing. Do you have any idea how underwhelming and ugly that is for your audience? That tiny pinch of suspense is very quickly replaced with ugh. This is kind of a spoiler, but do you care? Do you really care? One guy distracts the gator by slapping its nose, which really undermines the threat, but we'll roll with it. But the CGI is so bad that the positioning of where the human character is and where the alligator is and where the human is responding to said alligator, it's all off. Imagine my microphone is the alligator. We're going to pop it here. I'll try and speak louder so you can hear me. He's tapping here, despite the alligator being there. Or sometimes they're way too close to each other. They're on top of each other. There's just no cohesion at all, and it is hideously rendered. But I digress. Back to playing bongo drums on a crocodile's head. Eventually, this character wrestles the gator and gets on its back, and it's quite cool, actually. It's oh, wow, something fun is finally happening. I didn't realise this character was Crocodile Dundee. That was not at all set up, but okay, let's go with it. But no, it doesn't last very long. He then gets thrown off by the gator and then just sort of stands there awkwardly for a few seconds before the gator then just pounces on him and eats him. What was any of that? And what's even sadder is that really is the only moment of action in the movie. They spend most of their time just either running away from them or being killed off screen with no tension or build up in the process. How did you miss the mark? They're literally convicts. They're like serial killers. I'm pretty sure a serial killer would willingly headbutt a crocodile in the head if it was a matter of life and death. And that's kind of what I wanted from this movie. I wanted to see a convict headbutt a crocodile. You're clearly very bad at storytelling and dialogue, so why are you relying on it? All you're achieving is misery and pain for your audience, who were hoping this might have been fun. Your idea of good writing is that a guy just forgot to close the door and let a flood in, and everyone's just fine with it. Just carry on using all of these electrical items despite the fact that there's 5-inch high water that's rising in the building. Yeah, we'll be fine. Don't sweat it. And the idiot who caused it then straps up exposed wires with a jacket that's hanging above a giant pool of water. Not only is that dumb as fuck, but I probably could have forgiven it if it was some sort of setup and it was going to come back around later in the film. The water never gets electrified or anything like that. No, there's no chance that the writers here have any idea of the concept of Chekhov's gun. We're asking way too much here. I could go on and on about this absolute beauty of a film. But at the end of the day, it's only going to be further downhill from here, so with very little redeeming qualities about it at all, except the inadvertent laughter that you will get along the way, I am going to give The Flood a 1. out of 10. Thank you for watching this review. Please be sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and please do hit the comment section as well. Have you seen The Flood? What did you think about it? Let me know in the comment section below. And of course, if you haven't had enough of this crazy ginger, you can always click on these suggested videos right here and get yourself lost in an IMO wormhole. But if not, take care, and I look forward to seeing you on the next review.